Welcome back to another episode of the 1% Insight. In this week's episode, we're chatting about why your future revenue is at risk, why ignoring Millennial and Gen Z buyers will cost you. According to Forrester's Buyer's Journey survey in 2024, over two-thirds of buyers involved in large and complex transactions valued over $1 million are Millennial and Generation Z buyers. So as of 2025, that would mean in the modern workforce, that would be people in their early 20s all the way over to their mid 40s. Is your current B2B technology marketing strategy and tactics engaging this majority of B2B buyers? If not, you are leaving a huge amount of revenue on the table. Let's look at how you can understand the modern B2B buyer and start marketing effectively to them. These new generations of B2B buyers are a lot different than a traditional B2B buyer from, let's say, the early to mid 2000s, for example, when digital wasn't really around. Now people have digital first decision making. So these traits that these B2B buyers have mean that you have to market to them differently. So what we've seen and what I've seen from research is that a lot of these B2B buyers are typically doing a lot of independent research away from companies. So they would have in the past had to go to your company, ask about you, meet you at an event, and get the information directly from you as the source. Whereas in 2025 and beyond, the world's information is at a click away. They can review the content you're putting out on social media, they can analyze your competitors. Even now, people are conducting a lot of research through the use of AI tools, putting in specific prompts based on what they're looking for in the solution market and whatever large language model they are using, whether it be ChatGPT, Perplexity, is feeding them back the answers from the internet based on their prompt. This poses a challenge to B2B tech companies because if all of these B2B buyers are essentially hidden from your sales process, how are you actually engaging with them and putting your best foot forward so that when they get to their consideration and decision stages of their B2B buyer's journey, that your company is front runner at the top of their mind? This is where content can assist. There's a significant trend where the majority of these B2B buyers, so anywhere from their early 20s to mid 40s, are conducting a lot of independent research. So if you're missing out on a huge part of the B2B journey where these B2B buyers are conducting their own research, you don't know they even exist or even potentially looking at your solution, you need to be putting your best foot forward online to make sure that you're engaging them and getting as much data as possible about people engaging with your content on a weekly, monthly basis. Our goal is to position your company, and that's what your marketing should be allowing your company to do, is to essentially provide so much value to these B2B buyers in the early stages of their journey that they enter your ecosystem of content. This gives you visibility on who's engaging with you, and it gives your sales teams the power to then reach out and send targeted campaigns to these people who have engaged with either your podcast, your social media content, YouTube, even tracking people downloading free resources. And obviously, just to mention, in person events are making a big comeback in 2025. And I see this trend continuing. Since the COVID pandemic, people have gone back to in person events because we had so many years of doing everything online. So, whether you're hosting an online webinar or you're actually sponsoring an event in person or attending a technology show, these are still fantastic and really beneficial events to combine with your digital content. So, it's not just to choose digital or choose in person, it's essentially about taking an omni-channel approach to give your B2B tech company the best chance of engaging, providing value to your prospects so that when they get to their consideration stages that you're top of the list, and when they make that decision, you have the content, the case studies, the success stories to give them the peace of mind to choose your company as their solution provider. It is important to note though that your online, your digital content has a fantastic advantage of providing your potential prospects, these B2B buyers, with a consistent stream of value adding content that they can come across, that they can engage with as they're on their research stages of their buying journey in that awareness piece. And we see this being done from smaller SaaS and tech companies all the way up to the very largest technology companies in the world. If you look at the tactics being run by, for example, LinkedIn with Hello Monday, their podcast, or Google's Search Off the Record podcast, you also have Shopify's Masters podcast, and then more recently, Stripe. We have to give the Irish shout out here. They've created a podcast called Cheeky Pint, where one of the co-founders, one of the Collison brothers, is actually interviewing founders, etc., in a very different way, and they're bringing a very creative form of video content to their audience. And they're not doing these podcasts just for the fun of it. There's a real strategy behind why the top technology companies are creating video shows for their target audience groups. So you might be wondering, we know that a lot of our B2B buyers and potential prospects are from a younger age demographic, and we know they spend a lot of time online. We know we should be creating content, but what type of content should we create? Where should we be? These are all common questions that we get on a weekly basis here at Trend 7 from clients or people jumping on calls looking to remedy their B2B tech marketing strategy to engage these B2B buyers. With the rise of AI, content can be commoditized in the sense that anybody can write a piece of content, anybody can create an AI video. What we need to look at is the future of it. Will our B2B prospects, will they find this engaging? Potentially. But will it actually build that trust and familiarity with your brand over someone creating unique video content with real people giving real insights, interviews with industry leaders with real insights that they can value from, that they can help succeed in their own role, use those insights to then share with their company, and that can help take them to the next level of growth? These are all questions we need to ask ourselves when we're creating content, because content isn't created equal. That's why we're really big on video content. A video podcast, for example, not only allows you to document your thoughts, your insights, interview guests, industry leaders, it also gives you the opportunity to use that video content across many different digital platforms. So, for example, in last week's episode, we chatted about how we can engage B2B tech prospects through long sales cycles. And this comes back into it again. We want to create content that is going to help them in their research phases. As we mentioned, a lot of them at the early stages are avoiding speaking to your company directly. They're conducting their own independent research. So, in order to engage them, get the data that they're actually engaging with your company so you can give it to your sales team to showcase prospect X, Y, and Z in your CRM has engaged with this LinkedIn post. They've downloaded this free resource. They're on your newsletter. We need to create content that they are going to find valuable. And when they input their search results, that your content shows up over your competitors' content. These B2B buyers are going to need different pieces of content throughout their journey to help them move to the next stage. What we see particularly work well for B2B technology companies when you're taking a digital approach is LinkedIn is this moment in time, the 30th of August, when I'm recording this, 2025, is the go-to B2B social media platform. That might change in the future, but right now, it is a fantastic place to connect, firstly, and actually search your ideal target persona. So you can actually see companies by location, company size. You can actually see the people that would be your key personas within those companies and connect with them and build relationships and rapport with these people. They can see your content. You can directly message them. It's the best for insights in terms of B2B social media right now. So LinkedIn, you just have to be on there in 2025 if you're a B2B tech company. This is where a lot of B2B buyers are spending their time on a daily basis. They're scrolling through their feed. Video content is becoming more prevalent within LinkedIn, as we would have seen last year when they introduced the short form video tab. They also have a increase in LinkedIn lives, etc. So if you look at the way LinkedIn is positioning its own platform to compete with YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, because they're business in themselves as well, they want to get as many users on the platform as possible. Video content is a core piece of that in 2025. So in order to play to the platform's strengths, grow your own presence from either a founder-led marketing approach, your brand, you need to be creating at least some form of video content. It gives you a lot of opportunities. So let's just take the example that we always go back to at the 1% Insight, because it is one of the most effective ones at present, is your video podcast. So you take that video podcast that you're recording for your long form But with those key insights from through it, you can take those as text-based insights, you can turn it into carousel posts, you can use it as short form video, and it will start arming you with pieces of content that is specific to your target audience group and provides value to them. And you can start distributing that across your personal LinkedIn profiles because they will get more trust, more engagement than your company account. But it's also important to post on your company LinkedIn account also because that's where they'll go to see customer success stories, get more information about you as a company. So it's important to balance both. And we'll jump into that on another day in terms of an episode on LinkedIn personal profiles versus LinkedIn brand accounts. Another platform that can work exceptionally well for engaging with your B2B buyers while they're in this research phase of their buying journey would be YouTube. Now, this would be typically where we see audiences go for more longer form content. So if you have longer videos on how to's, tactical based content, interviews, customer success stories, they can all kind of sit here. But it's a different channel and platform than LinkedIn, for example. So with this, you need to really be focusing on your thumbnail and title so that you actually have a chance of engaging them and getting them to watch your video. Because if the thumbnail and title don't resonate with them, chances are they'll just keep scrolling. Another benefit of YouTube is that is one of the largest search engines in the world. So all these large language models, all these Google searches that your B2B buyers are putting in through their research phase will be drawing on content from the internet to give them answers. So it's a no-brainer that you need to be putting content out there through your YouTube, through your social media, through your own website that is specifically aligned with the questions they're asking. So that therefore Google, ChatGPT can give them back answers, and the answers they're going to be giving back is your company's content. This is going to be a huge area of marketing for B2B tech teams now and in the future as it progresses through, that your content needs to be answering these questions so that you're making it easier for the AI models to understand your content and feed it back to the B2B buyer who's searching for it on the other end, increasing your likelihood of the B2B buyer discovering your brand and choosing it as a trusted vendor over a competitor. And this also looks at the importance of consistency over perfection. So it's something that I think every brand creator will go through, is that 80% done is better than never posted. So like if you're constantly looking for perfection in your content, you'll be hamstringing your own efforts because you're going to post one video here and then it might take you another 4 weeks to record another video. And to be honest, that's just not enough consistency or quantity in order to be consistently bring value to your target audience group. So focus on being consistent, creating value, but also know that not every piece of content is going to be perfect. And that's okay as well, because I think a bit of, imperfect content here and there, whether it be a or an or a like within your content is okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's more important to get it out there, get testing, understand what works, what doesn't. And the more chances, it's like going to the gym. The more reps you do, the better off you'll be. They're not going to be perfect all the time, but it's better to actually put in the reps than not do it at all. So this brings us on to our last point around engaging with these new age digital B2B buyers. So it's not just social, it's not just in-person events, it's not just your website, it's about creating an omni-channel digital experience that's positive for that B2B buyer. So it's not just doing one thing really well. You with these B2B buyers, if they're not happy, if they're not impressed, if they're not having a positive experience with your brand or your company, they will not engage with you and they will quickly move on to the next brand in search of a better experience. So everything from your social, your website, your YouTube, your podcast, your in-person events needs to be quality. Finding ways of creating value, whether that's through the podcast or a how-to guide, different reports, different research that you can provide them, essentially, so that you are their go-to source of information over your competitors, will always be a good move. You're building this trust and familiarity with your brand so that when they become in market and ready to make a decision on a solution, your B2B tech brand is the obvious choice. Another benefit of posting content and tracking that is the importance of data. Your AI models, etc., in the future will be built on your own company data. So, in order to track this, you need to be putting out content You can start measuring what's working, what's not working. There's tools out there now that can actually measure who's engaging with your content. So you can actually start tracking them so you have some visibility of them throughout their B2B buyer's journey without them actually engaging with a sales rep, for example. So this is really important information about your target audience group that you need to be tracking, storing correctly in your CRM and databases. And you can use this to personalize outreach in the future. So this will be a key link between marketing and sales. Marketing can gather data and signals and intent, and you can give that to your sales teams to help them better book meetings, get more conversations, and start building pipeline. If I had one key takeaway to give to you today, it would be to audit your current B2B technology marketing strategy and look at areas where you're not engaging with the modern B2B buyer. So if your content isn't getting engaged with, or you're not posting any content, or you're doing content maybe once a month or once every 2 months, and your posting is sporadic and it's not really value creating for your target audience, I would audit that. If you're not doing it, your competitors will, and you don't want to lose market share. And if you're not engaging these digital first B2B buyers, and it's only going to continue along this trend as more B2B buyers are coming from younger age demographics as they go through university and come out and grow into their careers, your revenue, your potential revenue of your B2B tech company is at huge risk because they won't even know that your company exists if you're not online. Tune in to next week's episode of the 1% Insight. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to hear, leave it in the comments below. Make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars if you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the 1% Insight.